I'm looking at this and there. I hereby call this meeting to order. I would like to thank tonight's presenters, everyone joining us in person and or via Facebook Live. Courtney Fisher will lead us in the pledge tonight.
Stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All our board members are in attendance with the exception of Paul Vitale, who is excused. You have something nice to say? Get well?
Yeah.
Okay, there are a couple of addenda items which include the additional information on a written comment, Idaho Food Bank backpack program report, Connections Credit Union donation agreement, and student enrollment information. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda with the addenda.
I move that we approve the agenda with the addenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hearing none opposed, that motion is passed. Next on the agenda is the approval of minutes. And I should read the minutes. A regular board meeting, December 15th, 2020. Special meeting to review the PCSD roadmap instructional models. That was on January 5th, 2021. Special meeting work session, January 12th, 2021, and a regular board meeting, January 19th, 2021. And I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes with corrections.
As corrections, yes, I see that. Okay,
I will second that.
okay, any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Hearing none opposed, that motion is passed. Next is the approval of the consent agenda, which includes authorizing of payment of claims, approving the supplemental financial information, and approving the amended human resources activity. I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
I move that the board approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Hearing none opposed, that motion is passed. Next, Courtney Fisher will provide the February recognitions.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, trustees, Dr. Howell and Ms. Johnson, and student representatives. I believe we just had one walk in, maybe. This is great to see that we have our awardees, the individuals that we're recognizing in person tonight. It's a really welcome change. So tonight we're going to recognize several individuals who through their actions embody and support our district's mission to think more, learn more, and be more together. First off, we'll start with our CAKE Awards. Our district believes a safe, supportive, and caring environment is critical to student learning. School District 25 Education Foundation, in partnership with McDonald's, supports the Learner of the Month Award to recognize one elementary learner and one secondary learner from our district from October through May. The CAKE Award celebrates positive character, attitude, kindness, and encouragement toward others. In addition to being recognized here at the monthly board meetings, the recipients also receive special treats delivered to their classrooms to be enjoyed with and among their peers. Nominations for the CAKE Award are submitted by a teacher who has observed the nominee's behavior and are approved by the school's principal. So first up, we have our February CAKE Award, our elementary learner. And please help me welcome Beckham Beach and his teacher, Mrs. Molly Johnson, to the podium. You can just stand right here, okay? So hello and thank you for joining us tonight. Beckham is in the kindergarten at Washington Elementary School, and Mrs. Johnson is his teacher. In her nomination letter, Mrs. Johnson wrote, "Beckham is a considerate and compassionate friend to all. Recently, our seating has changed due to the upcoming end of the trimester. A lot of students were disappointed in the change of seating. Beckham eagerly moved spots and told his new table mates, 'Look how awesome our table is.' and included all of his new friends in conversation. Beckham frequently calls me over to their table to brag about his peers' effort on their morning work and handwriting. He is always boosting his classmates' confidence, providing them with reassurance, knowing they have a good buddy at school. It is an honor to teach Beckham and further cultivate his loving heart. So Beckham, we want to congratulate you for being an exemplary model of kindness and encouragement to your classmates. And you'll get this certificate. So in addition to being recognized here tonight, Beckham, you're going to receive a special treat in your class, and we'll make arrangements with your teacher to do that really soon. And then your teacher and you will also receive a gift card from McDonald's, who sponsors this award. So that will be coming directly to you at school as well. And then your library is going to receive a $50 donation in your name to help choose select books. And that's also from McDonald's, who's our partner. So please help me in congratulating Beckham for his being named our Elementary Learner of the Month for character, attitude, kindness, and encouragement. And if you would walk up there and say hello to our board members, and I'm sure Ms. Johnson would accompany you.
You don't want to come.
You don't have to.
Nice.
Pretty neat, Beckham.
Awesome.
Can you do a fist bump? No. Okay.
No.
Let's see your award. Cool. Good job, Beckham.
Yes, congratulations.
Good job.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work, lady. Good job, that is so cool.
Yeah. Thank you for your recognition. Thank you, Beckham. Well done, buddy.
Thank you for your bravery, Beckham. We know this gets people out of their comfort zone. So next up is our secondary learner of the month. Please help me welcome Jada Ward and her teacher, Mrs. Amy Mann, I believe, wasn't able to be here tonight, so you're welcome to bring a guest up here with you if you feel like it. So hello, Jada, welcome, and thank you for joining us here tonight. Jada is in the 8th grade at Alameda Middle School. In her nomination letter, her teacher, Mrs. Mann, wrote, "I would like to nominate Jada for the Cake Award. Jada is a wonderful student and displays kindness in and out of the classroom. Jada has a variety of friends and is constantly including other students. If she notices someone who is being excluded, she invites them to join in the discussion and take part in activities. She often gives friendly comments to others, not only on their outward appearance, but will also give a much-needed mood boost just because she wants to brighten their day. Jada takes the time and opportunity to notice those around her who need extra help. She often gets peers their classroom materials and helps clarify misunderstandings on assignments. Jada is an Alameda cheerleader and helps build school spirit through her energy and actions. I observed Jada talking with another cheerleader who was not picking up the routine and was nervous about performing at the basketball game. She offered her extra help and encouragement to try to make her more comfortable and less anxious. Jada's peers are drawn to her because she exudes a leadership attitude that is built upon peer acceptance, compassion, and care." So Jada, you also will be recognized among your peers in your classroom with a special treat, and we'll make arrangements with your teacher to do that. You and Mrs. Mann will also receive a gift card from McDonald's, who's our partner, and your school library will receive a $50 donation in your name. You can help select the books and mark your name in those for all eternity. Please help me in congratulating Jada for being named our secondary learner of the month for your character, attitude, kindness, and encouragement. And if you would say hello to our board members, they always love meeting our cake award winners.
Congratulations.
Yeah, do that. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Keep up the good work.
Thank you so much.
Okay, next up, we have our PIES Award, which is our Employee of the Month Award. The Employee of the Month PIES Award recognizes our employees who positively influence educational success. This award is for employees who will go above and beyond in that effort. Lookout Credit Union partners with us in providing this award. So tonight, we are recognizing Miss Margot Lamont, and she was nominated by Mr. Trent America. Is Mr. America here as well? Well, go ahead and join me, Mrs. Lamont. Welcome, and thank you for being here tonight. In his nomination letter, Mr. America wrote, "Margot Lamont is an amazing educator that has been a wonderful addition to AMS. I believe just this year is your first year. Margot came to AMS from Ellis and brought with her the love and compassion of an elementary teacher. Margot is a very caring and thoughtful educator, and her learners know this. As this year has gone on, I've watched as the relationships between her and her learners have grown. It is easy to see that Margot brings so much more to our AMS learners' lives than just math. Every learner that passes by her door is greeted warmly and with a true sense of care. She has also become a trusted adult that our learners rely on when in need. Many a days, Margot has taken home the stresses and trials our learners face, in and out of school, home with her at night. Each situation, Margot gives the learners attention, empathy, and care. So many of our learners need this. I just felt after the week our school community has had, not to mention the year, educators like Margot are truly astonishing human beings, and we do not recognize them enough. So we want to thank you for being an exemplary model in our school system. And you will receive a $50 gift card from Lookout Credit Union. And then Mr. America will receive a $20 gift card for the nomination. And here's your certificate. And then just please help me congratulate Mrs. Lamont. And thank you for your contributions to our learners and to our school district. And if you want to say hello to our board as well.
Thank you.
That one takes the moves. And that concludes our recognitions for this evening. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is time for public written comment on topics not pertinent to agenda action items. And since I have not received a request for public comment on this topics not pertinent to agenda items, we'll move on. The next item is student representative reports. I think we have one student representative. Would you say your name and school, please?
Yes, I'm Gracie Baird. I'm from Pocatello High School.
Good for you.
So, okay, hi.
Hi.
So student government will be participating in the virtual state Studo conference February 25th and 26th. Student government will be collecting their outstanding student council award at the conference, and only 10 schools in the state earned this award this year. Pocatello Cheer is headed to state in 2 events. Our drama department will be presenting a melodrama starting next week. Our art students are working very hard in creating amazing pieces in a variety of mediums. Band and choir just completed amazing virtual concerts, and boys basketball and wrestling are working hard and preparing for districts. So, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for being here.
Yes. Okay. Media report and community relations update. Courtney Fisher.
Hello again. So I have the media and community relations report for February of 2021. The following education topics frequented recent news over the past month. As we know, especially in our district, Idaho teachers began receiving the COVID-19 vaccine, so that's wonderful news for us. K-12 coronavirus cases continue to drop, not just in our community, but they're approaching a 4-month low in Idaho. Continuation of hybrid model and target of March 1 to potentially return to in-person, as we are resuming in-person starting March 1st. Legislative activity and action, and then recently released CDC new guidelines for reopening schools. We'll be looking at those to see if we need to make any modifications. I emailed a link to Renee to include in your board packet with links to articles of interest that you should have. Live stream board meetings, January 19th, our regular board meeting, we had 272 views. On our special meeting on January 27th, we had 66 views. And on February 9th, our special meeting where you decided the instructional model moving forward for the rest of the year, we had 996 views. So almost 1,000. You can tell when people are really interested in the topics of discussion. Social media over the past 28 days, we have over 10,200 followers on Facebook. And we were just right around the same level we have been with our social media views. Our Twitter followers went down by 12. I'm not really sure why, so we'll be looking into that. And then we have just over 1,100 followers on Instagram. Facebook really still holds true to that's where people come to find out information and stay informed on School District 25. Our website continues to perform really well. For the last 28 days, we had 20,000 users, which was up 14.5%, 38,000 sessions, and 94,000, almost 500 page views. So that went up significantly by over 20,000 page views. So I always like to look at these statistics to see what information people want to consume on our website and what's really giving them the information they need for their learners. So our home had 30,286 hits, and then the top 10, it really stays pretty true over the last year. Elementary food services is always in the top 3. PHS Home has really been in the top 3 as well. Our weekly case status report continues to be something that people access weekly to figure out where those status cases are. Our food service administration, HR, our hybrid schedule, because we've had some changes with holiday days, and so some shifting of, Fridays for that group A instead of Mondays because of those holidays. So that's been a popular page. Boundary maps, this is the time of year when people start looking at enrollment for next year, so it makes sense that boundary maps would be in the top 10. And then coronavirus updates and district links and forms. So it always tells the picture of where we're at, and it always makes perfect sense cyclically for where we're at in the district as well. In other news, I'm really excited to report the supplemental levy video is done. I just got the final copy in my inbox as I was walking up to give this report. So I will be sending you all a copy of that. We will be posting that to our website, posting that to social media. It really is a walking tour of the facts and information sheet. So I'm really excited that it's done, and it gives us another avenue to really inform and educate our voting public about that upcoming election. The facts and information sheet is also on our website. Information has been posted to Infinite Campus, and early voting begins Monday, February 22nd, this coming Monday, so mark your calendars. Any questions?
No?
All right,
No,
that
thank
concludes
you.
my report this month.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we'll move on to curriculum, instruction, and school safety. And first up would be Chuck Orr.
Good evening. I'd just like to report for you this evening, just an update on Native American curriculum that we've been engaged with. Recently, the Pocatello High School Social Studies Department met with Jessica James, who is the Tribal Youth Education Program Manager for the Shoshone-Bannock Tribes, and Hvac Toole, who is the Policy Analyst with the tribe, to discuss Native American history, government, and culture. As kind of an outgrowth of that meeting with their Social Studies Department, Ms. Toole offered to provide training to all of our high school social studies teachers on the history of Pocatello and the tribe. So that training took place last Friday at Pocatello High School. The Pocatello High School staff was in person with her, and then we set up a Google Meet so that the social studies staff at Highland and Century and New Horizon could join remotely. And that training was really well received by our staff. I'd also like to let you know that this coming June, we'll be bringing together our unit development teams for U.S. History 1 and 2 and U.S. Government. And part of each team's work will be to enhance the inclusion of Native American history, government, and culture into our existing units. And both Ms. James and Ms. Toole are planning on attending the first portion of the first day so that teachers can have a more in-depth conversation about what to include in our curriculum. So we're excited about that work and that partnership with both of those individuals, and we look forward to that work this coming summer.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any
Thank
questions?
you.
Thank you. Let's see, Lori Craney. Got 3 items.
Good evening. So for the Head Start report, the ERSI report, the enrollment at the end of January, the program had 133 children enrolled, which was an increase of 2 from the previous month. The full-day program is fully enrolled with 40 children, and the part-day program has 93 children enrolled with 3 withdrawals. Attendance for January was 85.64%, based on the number of days children are scheduled and were physically present. For personnel, they have 3 openings, 2 for family advocates they've interviewed, but still need to find people that would fit that position. And there's 1 bus driver position that's open. The Policy Council, 4 of the parents attended the IHSA, they were the representatives, and they attended the virtual IHSA conference. Their highlight was meeting their legislators, Senators Guthrie and Nye, and Representatives Ruckty and Manwaring. It wasn't quite the same experience as seeing them in person at the Capitol, but when they reported at Policy Council, it was still very memorable for them. The program is now preparing for their spring visit to the school, either in person or using a Google Meet. The facilities application is at stage 2 of the review process. Additional questions were raised and then answered, and the program's monthly virtual conference meeting with the OHS Region 10 is this Friday. And so at that one, we hope to hear that it's cleared stage 2 and moving to that final stage 3. It just seems like it just takes so long at every stage there. Always more and more questions to be answered. The instructional model then for Head Start. So the Head Start program management met with staff and the Policy Council members to discuss the model for finishing the school year. And the program decided that they will continue in the hybrid model. This model continues to meet family schedules and ensures a safe environment, and then provides a consistent educational approach so children can make those expected gains. So they will continue with that. Okay, and that's the Head Start report. The after-school program is continuing in 8 of our schools. Attendance averages about 100 students a day across those sites. Most of them are meeting their attendance goals. We still have, Irving is struggling to meet those goals, but hopefully that will change as they're there every day, and we'll be able to increase the number of students each day. They did hold them at 20 this year, so we have a decreased number of students in the after-school program. They gave leeway for that so that we could be for social distancing, cleaning, and all of that. And in the last is, you will see, there's the food backpack program continues to be strong in our schools with 837 food backpacks distributed for the month of January. Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you. Sue Pettit, early graduation requests.
Well, I have a whole list of them.
Boy, I guess. Did they all write a letter?
They all wrote a letter, every single one of them, even the ones that the counselor said, why do we have to write a letter? I said, because the board wants to know what's going on. And some of the letters, we had only one that was like 2 sentences, but the rest of them were very, very well thought out. And the more I signed on these, I finally looked at Cheryl Marley. I said, how many over is this compared to normal? So we looked at last year, and last year there was 62 early grads at this time, and so this year we have 90. And most of them are already working or getting ready to go to college, or a couple are going to the military, but a bunch are just already got jobs and they're working. So
2 of them are juniors.
And 2 will be juniors at the end of the year, yes.
Boy,
Yes. So,
that's something.
okay. And then the other item on my agenda is New Horizons calendar. And just a reminder that they follow the same calendar that the rest of the district does, except they are in 6-week blocks instead of 12-week trimesters. So they're marked on those 6-week blocks for you.
Yes.
Questions?
Sounds
Okay.
Great, thank you. Tanya Wilkes.
I'll race you up here.
Felt a little normal with kids here tonight. I was like, yay.
Yes.
All right, a couple things for me. We are starting to open up some little camps and clinics due to the lift of the 10 gatherings. So we definitely keeping those under 50. But Highland High School's asked for a little baseball camp Colonel Christian's putting on, like that approved. And I know
Where are they
probably
gonna
get
have that?
more. Say that one more time.
Where are they gonna have that camp?
They are doing a hitting clinic in their little room down in the basement down there at Highland.
I
Okay, and then the other thing is the spring athletic schedules. They're a little ambiguous this year. We are trying to we put all the golf tournaments together, Century and Century and Pokey travel together as well. So you'll see that. I'm still trying to put some track things together as things start to open up. Some of those meets are starting to come back. We are, still in stage 2, and our original guidelines had stated we will not go out of state if we're in stage 2. We're trying to compromise a little bit and open up a little bit, so we talked about a 150-mile radius with at least, a maximum of a one-night stay to go to some of these tournaments and competitions. And that way we're not jumping and going overboard quite yet, but we're definitely opening up and giving them some opportunities. Even though in-state Boise seems to be quite the drive, we did lock it down for our state during those few months. It was funny looking back to remind myself, and going back to August gave me PTSD, just so you know. Just looking at those guidelines. Any questions on the schedules? We have lots of baseball going on. If you guys haven't been to Hallowell Park this year, I know with the snow you might not see it quite yet, but between the different programs, the Grays and, I can't think of the other baseball program. Legion, that's right, thank you. And myself, we all pitched in and put turf on the pitching mound and home plate so that we can have a little more wear and tear on that, and hopefully we'll just kind of be adding to that. So many entities use that facilities, we're trying to maintain that upkeep right now. So that'll be nice. In the past, it used to be Pocatello High School's practice field. We are now rotating that. So Century, Pokey, and Highland will be using that as a practice field as well as varsity games. Now that Pokey has their field to be able to practice on and so forth. So lots of good things happening. We're just, as soon as we announce that, baseball and track start, of course it snowed. So hopefully that'll be going away pretty soon and we'll be able to start. Any questions?
Track and field's starting
Yes.
soon, and I've already accepted, 3 track meets in Idaho Falls.
So get a hold of
Like I said,
Mr. Mattson and make sure we schedule him in. Got it.
If they want.
The best in the
Yeah,
state.
yeah,
I agree.
Yes.
I will get a hold of
Just
them.
asking because
Deal.
I'm not gonna back out. Okay,
All right. Thank you.
okay, thank you. Okay, business operations. Bart, this is the earliest you've ever been up here.
And that's great.
Yeah, well, I got that.
I'll try not to make it too long-standing, so. It's exciting to look at the state revenue report and know that we're 7 months ahead of schedule. For the year-to-date, at the end of January, they are about $94 million ahead of their revised budget, which is about 3.9%. I always like to compare that to prior year at this time. And if you look at prior year's revenues versus this year's revenues, they're $356 million ahead of where we were last year at the same time. It's hard to believe at these times when we've been involved with COVID and all the other things that we've had to deal with, but we're going to take that because that means good news for school districts and public education for this next
We hope that.
legislative session. So that's a good report. The eligibility percentages under our free and reduced still remain the same until we get further notification of when those might change. So that's just kind of a pass along to you in that regard. This is the first time, I think, that in February that we've come out with a bid to the board, but we have been pushing the envelope with that just because the timeline in order to order materials has been extended quite a long time down the road. Normally, we were 4 to 6 weeks on HVAC materials and equipment to get them in. Now they're talking that we're looking anywhere between 12 to 16 weeks sometimes. So before you, for your approval tonight, is a bid that we opened up for HVAC at various district buildings. You can see Project 1 at Century High School, Project 2 at Pocatello High School, and Project 3 at Lincoln. Mechanical Solutions was the low bidder on Projects 1 and 3, and BNS Boiler was the low bidder on Project 2 at Pocatello High School. If you look at those individual projects and you looked at the 3 companies that bid, contractors that bid on that equipment, very, very close and competitive bids. Any one of them almost could have made it, and I'm sure in their mind they were wishing they would have sharpened their pencils just a little bit more. But we are recommending that the board approve those projects to Mechanical Solutions and the B&S boiler this evening. Lastly, for the last couple of years, this is really exciting news that we have been working on a proposal, a marketing contract with Connections Credit Union for press box and concession stands up at Iron Horse Stadium, which is located at Highland High School. We have finalized that agreement with them. You have that in your packet for review this evening, and also the letter stating that that Brian Osberg, who is the president and CEO of Connections Credit Union, met with their board. They did approve that on February the 17th for the donation for that project there, and also the marketing agreement. So it is our recommendation as administration that the board approve entering into this marketing contract and that we move forward with this project, which would begin around the first part of June. And I'd be happy to entertain any questions. I saw Mrs. Craner grabbing her mic, so.
No, I was just making sure that we've checked with our legal department and everything on this, and that
sure.
it's all okay.
I'm sure.
We have entered into agreements before with various other types of things. For example, we had a beverage contract that was a longer-term contract. The one change with this from the original plan is that we were looking at them meaning Connections Credit Union, building the concession stand and donating that to the district. However, after we have looked at down the road and as we finalize this, the district will be doing this. We'll be going out to bid for this project, for this concession stand. We'll run it through the open bidding process, and they will just make a donation toward this concession stand press box. But I don't see any legal implications toward this at all, Mrs. Craner or members of the board, so.
And this is an old fireproof building?
So one of the things that we discussed with this in regard to building code, because we do not have a fire hydrant out there toward the grandstands or the stadium itself, where we are putting a building out there, they wanted us to put a fire hydrant. Well, that added an enormous cost to this project. And in working with city officials and the building inspector at that point in time, they were good for us to propose a non-combustible building, meaning that this building will have materials that aren't readily combustible, like wood and a stick frame. Initially, we talked about putting a metal building up there, but as we have reconsidered the longevity of that project, we're going to build a cinder block with a decorative face on the outside, similar to what you've seen at Edson Fichter that was done by the state of Idaho Fish and Game in conjunction with the city of Pocatello. And a lot of the buildings that you see around the state, these concession stand press boxes, a lot of them are more of a block construction. So it'll be a two-story block construction with a slanted roof, and we'll finish the landscaping up. It'll be a great addition to Iron Horse Stadium.
Good.
We still have to submit the plan review to the city of Pocatello, which upon board approval that we'll do this week, so.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
All right, thank you
Good.
very much.
Thank you. Employee Services, Carl Smart.
Well, I just have 3 short items on my section of the agenda tonight. Just to let you be updated on a few things of Infinite Campus and IC. We are starting to get ready for the rollover for the next year. So 2022 is coming before we are really ready for it sometimes. And so with that being said, I know I saw something in the media today about kindergarten registration. So it'll be interesting to see how many kindergartners we have registered this year, based upon what we saw this last year. So that'll be something we'll be watching very carefully. As far as technology, they are in the last stages of putting up all the TVs that they bought. We had the CARES money we talked about over the last several months, and we bought several hundred televisions to replace those aging projector systems in those classrooms. And I believe they're planning on being done by the beginning of next week in all the schools. There's going to be a few outliers where the maintenance folks are going to have to help put them up higher or in some odd spots, but other than that, all those projectors have been replaced or will have been replaced, so that's good news. Item B talks about student enrollment. It was part of your addendum. You can see we're having a little bit of an uptick in our enrollment. Especially if you were to look at the second sheet of that, we're actually up about 40 kids over what we were in January, and very close to where we were in September. And this is especially evident in elementary schools, and we're seeing some of those kids come back into our system that had gone elsewhere, whether it be online schools or stayed home for homeschooling or whatever it might be. Some of them are trickling back, so that's the good news. Item C, wellness dashboard. You can see that took a pretty significant reduction from what it was a month ago.
But it's still high.
Still high, but what's concerning though is as we met last month with some of our representatives from Pacific Source and Lockton. Of course, we have large claims that come through our system every once in a while. And what's concerning is that some of these large claims are now including drugs that we're probably going to see on a consistent basis. So that's one thing we're going to probably need to address over the course of our discussion with Pacific Source. How do we manage those costs? And because they won't go away. Large claims, for a typical, say an accident or a premature birth or whatever it might be, it's a one-time thing and it goes away. Drugs, for a lot of these things, are ongoing costs. So that's a big concern, and that's really relevant to the cost increases of some of the prescriptions that we're seeing out there for some of the different maladies that they're trying to correct. So we'll be watching that, but it did take a significant dip over what it was a month ago, so that's the good news. And the last part of my section of the agenda just as a budget timeline as we prepare our budget. We talked today in cabinet meeting, there's a lot of unknowns still for this year's budget that we're trying to still get our heads wrapped around. Of course, a year ago, Hvac, the legislature approved a budget for all the districts. The governor, after the fact, told districts they should anticipate a 5% reduction. The legislature's never approved that reduction, per se. I guess that's the best way to say it. And so all the documents that we received for this month's payment reflect all the data that was in place from Hvac last spring. And so we're kind of in a quandary of what do we do in the way of budget adjustments. And so we didn't bring budget adjustments to you tonight like we usually would do. And so that's one of those things that we will probably bring to you sooner than later after the legislatures had their opportunity to go through and determine which portions of Governor, did I say Otter before again?
This morning, no, you haven't.
Governor Little. Governor Little's recommendation from a year ago about the 5% reduction. So there's a lot of things in place still, but we still need to have a budget in place by the middle of June, and so we work backwards from there, and so we have started that process. The data went out last Friday, and so all of our directors are in the process of reviewing that and getting ready to put their requests in. So it's kind of where we stand right now. So unless you have other questions or comments, that concludes my report tonight.
Anyone? Okay. No? Thank you, Carl. Okay. We're at there is no human resources report this month. We don't see her very often. Is that you? No, well, it just seemed like, it's not Brenda, obviously it's not Brenda, but it just seems like we always had some kind of report from, HR too, and we don't.
We did do HR reports under that report instead of consent agenda.
Yep.
Okay.
Detailed report every month, so now that it's just the standard,
Oh.
hearing, it's just on the consent agenda.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Oh, I had a question on that, though. There was a person who looked like she'd been a second grade teacher, but she wanted to go halftime. How do you do a halftime second grade teacher?
So if there's an opportunity there that exists with the principal and what's best fit for their school and their assignment. So that particular assignment, I believe it's second grade, but might also be related to Title I. And so if so, then they have an opportunity to flip-flop, and someone who might already be in the position that exists as a halftime could pick up a full-time, if that makes sense. Just moving the half from one person to another, essentially, if the principal can make that work.
Was it interesting?
Yeah. And then to answer Mr. Manson's question, as we get into more of the hiring season, and also to give you a status report from time to time as far as where we're at in the district with various positions. So we'll see Mrs. Minor, but certainly that HR report now under the consent agenda pretty much picks that up for us.
Okay.
But I know she has 2 events scheduled for recruiting fairs in the next, I think they're both in, one may be the end of February and the other is mid-March. So for the March agenda, we'll have her in and talk to you about that.
Because I do think it's nice to hear about, how many we have maybe retiring and different things and like events that she's doing and different things.
Yeah.
Besides just, I've noticed it's moved to the consent agenda, but it is nice to hear.
Yep.
There's some things there.
Okay.
So, Mr. Manson, for me tonight, just one item, and that's our board calendar. And you can see coming up on Friday, it looks like District Curriculum Committee, and that'll be here in the boardroom. We did put together, dependent on the weather, but next Tuesday, PHS tour at 1:30 for you. We'll notice a quorum for that.
Yeah, I declined. You saw that. When I decline on my phone, don't you see it?
I have to go into the meeting invite and look at the status report.
Okay, so then I should just send you a message then,
Yeah.
that I can't be there. Yeah. Okay.
And if there's a better date or an alternative, we can work that out for you.
Well,
Mr.
if I'm the only one out, I'll just say, hey, Bart. or
Yeah, exactly.
Done.
Yep, we'll make it
Go over
work.
there. Put a hard
Okay.
hat on, watch me.
There you go. Yep, a vest and a hard hat or something.
Yeah.
You bet.
Have them give you a hammer and something.
So on February 24th, Instructional Technology Committee meeting, we have a student discipline hearing placeholder, but we do not have any hearings scheduled for,
Now, did you say curriculum meeting this week?
yeah, I think it's on
You're
Friday.
not gonna be here.
No.
You're gonna be stopped. Oh, okay, so I'm going. Okay,
Okay.
good.
All right, so do not plan on student discipline next week.
None, okay.
Nope.
24th.
And then March 9th is Election Day. And then we have a board work session planned for March 9th as well at noon. March 10th, student discipline hearings, again, placeholder. Ed Foundation meeting on March 11th. And that takes us out to the 16th, which would be a regular board meeting. And then it starts over again with district curriculum on March 19th.
I had a question, because often when there's been like a levy or an election, people would gather here to find out the results together.
Uh-huh.
Is that gonna happen, or?
We primarily did that when we were collecting the results, when we were out gathering boxes and so forth. Whereas now with the county, we oftentimes don't see those results until maybe after 10 o'clock or so. So if you would like to stay up late and we could arrange something, if you'd rather be in the comfort of your own home and hopefully cheer and celebrate on your own, either way, I'm open. But again, yes, when the district was in charge of those levies, we would come here and watch the results come in and as each precinct would report. But since the county has taken that over, I think we've just been at home waiting for the results. That's it for me.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, okay, on the agenda, the next item is, it's time for public written comment, items. What's that? Pertinent, well, I just skipped that. There's nobody here. Okay, let's move on. We'll move to the action items. The first item of business is to approve their early graduation requests. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve those early graduation requests.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, that motion is passed. Next item of business is to adopt the New Horizons Center, New Horizon. You can't put an S on it. New Horizon. I'm glad she's not here. She's probably listening though.
No doubt.
Center calendar for the 21-22 school year. Is there a motion?
I move we adopt the New Horizon Center calendar for the 2021-2022 school year.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
That motion is passed. The next item of business is to approve the camp request. Is there a motion?
I hereby move that the board approve the camp request as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That motion is passed. Hearing none opposed. The next item of business is to approve the spring athletics schedules inclusive of travel. Is there a motion?
I move we approve those spring athletic schedules inclusive of travel.
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? It sure looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah,
See
just see
kids
some.
getting back out again.
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, that motion is passed. Next item is to award the bid for HVAC.
I
Is
move
there-
that we award those bids for HVAC or approve them.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hearing none opposed, that motion is passed. Final item is to approve the donation agreement between Connections Credit Union and the Pocatello Chubbuck School District Number 25. Is there a motion?
I move we approve the donation agreement between Connections Credit Union and the Pocatello Chubbuck School District Number 25.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I just would like to offer my appreciation to Connections Credit Union.
Yes. I think that this is gonna just open the gate.
Right.
For whatever reason, 5, 10, 15 years ago, any kind of donation of any size, if it wasn't equitable, it wasn't accepted. I've been hearing that before I was on the board, and, no, so once this gets out, other schools will receive. Now, we may have to equalize things in our SIP committee and other places, but that's
Well, and
an easier task.
And Iron Horse really, several, it's used for several venues, you know. I
Yes,
mean,
yes.
It is not just there, I mean, for Highland, you know, so I think that,
Well, especially if we get the turf out there, that'll just be.
you know, and I just think that it's so nice to see businesses and that take an active interest in supporting kids and things in the district and trying to help compensate for
Mhm.
things that we lack otherwise, you know. So
Mhm.
I just wanted to say that before we voted, I guess.
Good.
I'll second that.
Okay, you second it? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hearing none opposed, that motion is passed, and that concludes this meeting. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
I
Aye.
I
The
can't
motion is
believe it, not even an hour.
passed, and we are adjourned.